Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, especially if you love reviews and demos like this one, which I'm going to do today, especially because I definitely want to try to pick up as many of the newest drugstore summer releases. I just reviewed the Maybelline Dream Satin Liquid Foundation, so I will link that down below in the description box, but today I wanted to review the CoverGirl Trublend Matte Made Foundation. So I personally have a dry skin, so I definitely wanted to see how this matte foundation would perform on my dry skin, and especially because it is summertime, this is really like the only time where I'd probably approach a matte foundation, especially when it's really hot here right now in Chicago, like 80s and 90s. So I wanted to see, is this a matte dry skin friendly foundation or not? So if you're dry skin, definitely stick around if you guys have been curious about this as well. But I was pretty impressed because they mentioned that this foundation has 40 different shades, which I think is amazing, which I think every single brand should do. However, I only saw like maybe 10, maybe 15 shades at my local Walgreens, so I'm just wondering where the rest of the shades. I mean, maybe they're just kind of targeting them by demographic, as they, you know, kind of sometimes do, but it's like I want to see more in general, because hey, you never know depending on neighborhood who lives there, who does, you know, I don't know. But anyway, I picked up mine in the shade L50, and this ran for maybe about $9 or so at Walgreens, which isn't too bad. I do love that it comes with a pump similar to that Maybelline one, where you can like twist it and lock it and unlock it, which is really great, especially if you're traveling. So I thought that was super cool. Couple things about this foundation. It's interesting. Which I figured with dry skin I was going to have some thoughts and some things to say, but I've definitely got some things to say. So I picked up mine L50, which upon first applying it, I was like, ooh, it's going to be too light, but it does oxidize. Doesn't oxidize orangey, so as we are end results here, you know, I do have a little bit of bronzer, but it's not like super duper white. At least in person it definitely is not. So I was just like, you know what, hopefully it'll oxidize a little bit, which it did, so that was fine. The actual formula of the foundation is definitely a like thicker, creamier formula, so it's definitely not going to go anywhere if you put it on the back of your hand and kind of like move your hand around. But because of that, I feel like the formula, when blending it on my face, I honestly only use a beauty blender for my face, which for dry skin, I'll always kind of do, because that's just a little bit easier. It just gives me that extra hydration, especially because when I was like blending this out on one side of my face, which is like, you know what, I don't know how quick drying this is going to be, but let me tell you, this is pretty quick drying. And it isn't the easiest to blend out. So the fact that I was even having a little bit of trouble with my beauty blender, I'm just kind of like, I can just imagine what a like dry brush would do and not really help me whatsoever. So even with the beauty blender, it was kind of like, alright, we kind of gotta work and really like buff it in there and really like pat it into the skin. And so definitely docket points, it did not blend out the easiest. And then I would say it's not much coverage. I would say it's definitely on the lighter coverage side. It didn't mention, you know, online what type of coverage it was going to be, which is interesting, but it's a light coverage, buildable for sure. Buildable and not the best blendability, but you can definitely blend it to a nice medium coverage, which is what I have on my face today. So not too impressed with that. And also, I thought it was just me. I thought I was crazy. I thought I had just washed my beauty blender for this video. I had just washed it nice and squeaky clean. But when I was like blending it on my face, I kind of noticed these like white little, like it looked like little sand, like little sand pieces on my face. I was just kind of like, oh man, like is that something on my beauty blender? Like what's going on? And I kind of kept blending around my face and I kept kind of seeing it there. So I was like, what the heck is going on? I thought it was just me. I was like, damn, did I not clean my beauty blender as well, you know, as I thought? So I thought it was just me. I was like, damn, I'm dirty. However, I was watching another YouTuber who was testing out this product, and upon applying it, she was mentioning like, hey, I've got like white little specks on my face. This looks like sand or something, like what's going on? And then I was reading the comments. Other people were just kind of like, yeah, same thing. And then somebody else mentioned like, oh, those are like oil controlling beads that CoverGirl puts in her foundation, or I don't know what. So I was like, okay, I'm not crazy. This is in the actual product, which I thought was kind of weird. Someone mentioned you could just like easily brush it off the face, but I've been trying to, and it honestly just looks like I kind of like walked past the beach or something and a little bit of sand got on my face, which is not a cute look. Like, I don't know who the hell wants that on the face, so I just was not a fan of that. However, once I was done with my makeup, I set my face with my setting spray, and I was like, this actually looks okay. we're gonna see how this goes though. But you know, upon first having it on my face with my dry skin, I was just, it gave me like a nice, like beautiful little porcelain little look on my face. And it was definitely, I agree, it's a comfortable matte, because I've tried matte foundations that are super matte, super drying, and they just feel super tight on my dry skin. However, this feels very comfortable. It feels like a satin finish foundation, and it looked really beautiful. But I was like, we'll see how the time goes on throughout the day, how this lasts on my face, because that's where, you know, the real results are. Within an hour, I can tell, you know, like, oh, this is a little too over drying. And yes, within an hour, before like that first like hour and a half, I was like, okay, this is alright, I like this a lot. And I only feel like that was true, or like that would probably be my first reaction, because it is summertime. It's like 85 degrees here today, and you know, that's the only reason I feel like why this lasted so comfortably on my face before I started to see it really drying up. I noticed it, the usual dry patch areas, especially around my nose and around my mouth, definitely getting very cakey, and then on my forehead and my chin as well. Yeah, the longer that I have this foundation on my face, the more that it just kind of like those areas start to dry up. And honestly, only because I was out and about outside, it definitely lasted longer. If I had just been in a nice air-conditioned little area, I think it wouldn't have lasted as long. And I feel like honestly this will not last me like 8+ hours before I just want to take it off my face, because it does dry up. I think honestly this only looks good on my dry skin for maybe like an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours or so if you're doing heavy activity. But after that, it really just looks really kind of, it starts to kind of like dry. It doesn't look super seamless on the face anymore. You can definitely just like see those pores come in, and I'm just not liking how it's looking around my mouth on camera. It looks alright. It looks pretty nice. From far away it looks nice, and then we get up in there and then I see what looks like sand around my face. Like, it looks like I just like plopped my face my mouth in like freaking sand. I'm just like, what the hell is this on my face? Like, oh my god, I don't like it at all. It's so annoying, and it's like white, so it doesn't even like blend in with my skin. But my forehead is getting really dry and patchy, so I would definitely say dry skin maybe in the summertime if you can try it out. But even I wasn't impressed too much with how it blended out. I was only impressed, you know, once I was done with kind of like my makeup for a bit, and didn't even last that long. I think maybe normal, but if anything, oily skin, this might perform and look better on your skin than my skin. But then again, those like freaking sand things on my face, I don't know if maybe because I don't have any oils to control maybe that's why they're just kind of like sitting on my face as opposed to having absorbed into my skin and my face. Let me know if you guys are oily skin and you try this and you don't notice like what looks like little sand beads on your face. Maybe it's just because I do have dry skin and it's not absorbing any sort of oil, so that's just the only thing that's driving me nuts. But I definitely, for me, this is a total pass. I had a feeling I wasn't gonna like it, but I definitely did not predict like some of these things like that sand and maybe, or the blendability. I figured the blendability would be a little bit better, but I'm not totally surprised. I still wanted to try it and, you know, kind of check it out, and especially if you're dry skin and if you were curious about it, because sometimes there's matte foundations that say they're mattes, but they're a comfortable matte and they're like a good matte for like dry skin. So the one that I kind of think of is the Wet n Wild, their newest foundation that they came out with. I actually love that one. I think that one's great for dry skin. I think that's great for all skin types. What is that one called? That's the Wet n Wild Photo Focus Foundation. That is a great matte, I think, for like all skin types. So sometimes there's mattes like that, so I really wanted to see what type of matte is this. This is a matte. This is an oily skin matte foundation, but once again, not super dehydrating, not, you know, tightening type of a matte. So I definitely, I like that one. I definitely agree with that. So just something for everybody. Let me know if you guys, you know, if this is a pass for you also. Or if you're oily skin and you feel like, you know what, I think I'll give this a try. Because sometimes when I watch maybe girls who have oily skin and they review a foundation, like, oh my god, no, it was too greasy, it made me really oily. I'm just like, oh my god, I should totally try out that foundation. That might be great for dry skin. So maybe for oily skin, this might be something that you might like as well. But for me, I would not recommend this for dry skin. Steer clear. You're gonna get really dry, kind of crack around those areas. My chin is feeling really dry, so not for us dry skin girls. But I hope you guys enjoyed that review and demo of this new foundation, especially if you guys were curious. Don't forget to subscribe to keep up with some more videos, and I'll see you guys next time.